Oh, it's only 5:29 on mine. Good evening, councillors, staff members, members of the public, both here joining us in person and those live streaming online. This meeting is being live streamed, so thank you all for joining us. I will declare this meeting open at 5:30, and in doing so, would like to acknowledge our traditional owners, who are Dandi Noongar people, and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. There are a couple of just small decorations from me. Obviously, we had a fantastic weekend just gone with the AFL in town. Obviously, maybe not the result we're all hoping for, but other than that, a fantastic event for all those involved. So, to the city staff for getting the oval and conditions ready, and those marketing comms team and everyone involved. I know there was a number of staff members who put their hand up to volunteer. Thank you very much for all of their contributions and efforts. Along with that, the weekend before, we obviously had a significant storm incident here within the city, and again, to our staff crews out there getting things organised, thank you so much. Thank you to the SES and the other volunteers who supported that, our volunteer bushfire brigades, everyone who's helped, and the community at large who came together and who were able to do that. Unfortunately, minor some major damage to some property, but no injuries to note. So we thank that. I will also acknowledge former Councillor Warnock in the room. Welcome, Monique. Okay. Moving along, I believe we are all here. Thank you. We haven't received any declaration of interest, councillors. Is there any declarations for this evening? No? Thank you. There's been no response request for public question time, and the questions taken on notice are in the minutes of this agenda. Confirmation of the previous minute. Is somebody happy to move that we accept the ordinary meeting? Thank you, Councillor Quain. Seconded. Councillor Ramesh. Likely to be any debate on this item, councillors? Councillor Kozig, you're getting ready to vote? Thank you. I'll put that. Those in favour, please indicate. All in favour? Thank you, that's carried unanimously. Thank you. There have been no, that I'm aware of, there have been no petitions received and no deputations or presentations. So, dealing with tonight's agenda, councillors, we has been 10.21 out for discussion and 10.3.1, which does require an absolute majority. At this stage, I haven't been asked to bring the other three items out. Would anyone like to discuss any of those three items? If that's the case, is somebody happy to move that we have 10.3.2, 10.3.3 and 10.3.4 on block? Thank you, Councillor Kozisek. And a seconder, Councillor Ramesh. I'll put that. Those in favour, please indicate. That's carried. Thank you. So we move to item 10.2.1, which is the Bunnings relocation advocacy position. We might just get this on the table first. Is there a mover for this, Councillor Kozisek? Is there a seconder? Councillor Smith. Now, councillors, I've just mentioned to Councillor Kozisek just prior, I did intend to have a 0.5 added to this, and I have worked this with the CEO who is comfortable with this. So if the mover and seconder are comfortable, we were just going to add an additional 0.5 as part of this, if the CEO is comfortable. So we don't need it as a as an amendment if the mover and seconder. And that point 5 is to authorise the Mayor to write to Bunnings/Wesfarmers, acknowledging the city's formal opposition to the DA, inviting them to meet with the city and expressing council's strong preference for retention of Bunnings' presence within the Bunbury's established commercial precincts. Now, this was something I think the CEO was working on prior to the agenda coming out. CEO, just confirming you're comfortable with that to be added?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, absolutely comfortable with the wording of point 5.
And I'll just make sure the mover and seconder are happy with that. Thank you. Okay, that'll become part of what the executive recommendation is then as per the CEO's position. So before I move into debate, was there any questions? Councillor Gazza?
Yeah. Mr. Mayor, now that you've raised that one, I'll just raise another question. I'll move a motion. Is there any room in all those points to actually be able to write to the Minister in regards to this, state in a very strong position that requests them to do maybe approach Minister Carey on this? Doesn't seem to be anything in there.
Yeah, Councillor Gassab, my letter to Minister Carey is already attached as part of that. So we have already written to Minister Carey. At this stage, we haven't had a response. But yeah, we've already written.
It's just not from council, is it? It's not a council decision?
Yeah, sure. You could move that's added as a point. I mean, effectively, it's going to be authorising the Mayor to write to the Minister, which I've already done. So I don't think it's necessary, Councillor Gassab. Any other Councillor Cossack?
Query along those same lines, because I think once we have made a decision tonight, this is you, right? You have written to the
Sure.
Minister Carey, sorry. Perhaps once we have made a decision tonight, that might be a good opportunity to restate our position to the Minister. It's just a thought.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy if you would, and what I'm just thinking to not overcomplicate it with an additional point, you, through the CEO's blessing, you could have authorised the Mayor to write to Bunnings Wesfarmers, Minister Carey, acknowledging the city's formal opposition to the DA.
Just, there may be an opportunity. One, Mr. Mayor, where the meeting last night, I think, moved the motion to actually ask for that to happen, to write to the Minister, from memory. Try to remember the final resolution.
Take a seat, please, Councillor Gassab. It wasn't a formal position there, but I think if the CEO is happy to add that point, and that I'm happy to then accommodate whatever is decided tonight as part of that. And as mover and a CEO, are you comfortable if I add Minister Carey in there?
Thank you, Mayor. Look, I think either way, if it was in the resolution, that's fine. I think even following Council's decision tonight, it might be worthwhile following up anyway, so I think it being in there is fine.
Mover and second, you happy to add Minister Carey? Councillor Gassab, I'm not sure if that 100% matches what you're asking for, but the mover and second are happy with that point added in part 5, which effectively would then reconfirm that position back through to Minister Carey. And I suppose probably the key point is there in inviting them to meet with the city.
So I'll move a motion, Mr. Mayor, if there's any support, that we suspend standing orders in relation to speaking for or against the motion.
Sure. So Councillor Gassab is putting a procedural motion that we remove standing order, in particular just the standing order that relates to debate for and against. Is there a seconder to that? I don't think there's any debate on this. Move that. I'll put those in favour of suspending the standing order of debate for and against. Those in favour, please indicate. 1, 2, 3. Those in favour. Those against. Against, that's lost. So standing orders will remain in place. Okay. Is there any other questions before we move any further? Okay. I will ask the mover to speak then.
Thank you, Mayor. The City of Bunbury Planning Department staff submitted an extremely thorough and well-written report not supporting the proposal by Bunnings to relocate their flagship store to Dalyella. There's not much more that needs to be said from a planning point of view, except that we will lose 300 shovel-ready housing lots in a time where a lack of land is causing huge delays in building new homes. Also, currently being built next door to this piece of land is an aged care facility, and just down the road a school, and on the other side some very nice homes. I feel that there needs to be some real thinking about why they would want to go into this area and have it rezoned. However, from an economics point of view, I have a fair bit to say. I urge everyone to give serious consideration as to the effects of losing this store in our CBD. Bunnings was founded in Bunbury in 1886 by the Bunning brothers, and this is according to Wikipedia. And they opened the first ever store in Bunbury in 1906. We are the community that helped establish them in the market. We are the people that supported them, our grandparents, our parents. The focus at the beginning, of course, for Bunnings was sawmilling. Timber from the southwest was a very sought-after building product, in particular Jarrah, and Jarrah railway sleepers from the southwest have been exported all over the world, and I believe some of them are still standing in many places. The very first Bunnings workshop was opened in Manjimup in 1906, and of course the southwest was dotted with sawmills. I had to question my father on this, so Donny River Mill, Quinnup Mill, Dean Mill, Pemberton, Shannon, Nannup, Palgarup, Nymup, Northcliffe, Walpole, Tonebridge and Collie. I may have missed a couple, but my father carted timber from every single one of those mills in his time. In the 1990s, under the West Farmers banner, Bunnings shifted their focus to the retail hardware market, and the next 36 years has seen Bunnings grow all over Australia and New Zealand, and I believe they've just entered into the market in Fiji, from what I've read. It became the go-to shop for all our home handyman needs: plants, cleaning products, hardware, building supplies, and more recently, lighting and electrical, workwear and pet supplies. Open 7 days a week, 6:30 to 9 p.m. weekdays and 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on weekends. They're always open, enabling that last-minute trip to repair or replace something. Sorry, I need to turn the page.
That's okay. You'll notice the clock isn't working. I've got a
thank
mental
you.
clock going on though, but so you're about halfway through.
So this has made it easy for us all to shop there because they were open when nobody else was. And this was often to the detriment to many other small businesses, small locally owned retailers unable to compete with the opening hours and the level of stock that Bunnings have. We've all seen the closure of Mitre 10, Home Hardware, McCormick's Lighting, Lightspot, Plant Nurseries, and there's probably many more that I'm not aware of. So a national store moves in and quietly shuts down many of the small mum and dad owned retailers, makes us all very reliant on them, and then tells us they are moving. I'm going to tell a story. When I lived in Manjimup, Target moved in the early 1990s, I think it was. In the time that they were there, they closed down nearly every clothing store, the baby shop, the homeware store, the shoe shops, the haberdashery stores, the linen shops, you name it. And then in 2023, they just went, oh, we're going now. Left Manjimup with no shopping. This is what national stores do because they really don't care. It's all about the dollar. I'm worried that this will happen in Bunbury. And yes, over time, some other large store may take up the lease, but by then it may be too late for those small retailers who can just not hold on. We do not have the population to attract either an IKEA or a Costco's. We have 187 registered builders in our area who rely on Bunnings for the business of building homes. Summit Homes, Plunker Homes, WA Country and Ventura Homes are all have offices in the Homemaker Centre as well. So in moving the trade depot out to Dallyellup, all our builders and tradies will be forced to take an extra hour or so to get the supplies for the day. And on top of that, the trade depot is predicted to have at least 60 truck movements a day, right next to an aged care facility. So reversing trucks, forklifts, you name it. Not ideal. So the city that founded Bunnings in 1886, the community that has supported them through good times and bad, and we all remember those COVID years. We couldn't go out to dinner, but we could go to Bunnings. And goodness, they made a fortune out of everybody renovating in those times. Our Premier Roger Cook recently announced his 7 Cities initiative, and Bunbury was one of those cities. I think that's really, really exciting, and it shows a lot of faith in our community. So we're considered to be a growing city. We have a new 225-room hotel about to break ground in the CBD. Another national chain, Harris Scarfe, has
Councillor
recently
Kozak,
opened.
that's 5 minutes by Mike Calc. Have you
I'm nearly
summarising your
done.
point?
I'm
Okay,
nearly
if you
done.
could
Yeah.
summarise, that'd be great.
So Harris Scarfe have recently opened a store in Bunbury after a 20-year hiatus. Does this not illustrate the huge potential that Bunbury has to offer? We have many small locally owned businesses who actually rely on Bunnings as the draw card, especially in the Homemaker Centre. Oh, I've got a whole page next, can I?
Is somebody happy to move to extend that time? Councillor Turner moving. Is there a seconder? Thank you. I'll put that the time be extended. Those in favour, please indicate. That's carried. Thank you.
Thank you kindly. You may well think that Bunnings moving just 10 minutes away is not going to affect anyone. Just get in your car and drive out there. But that's not the point. The point is Bunnings, whether we like it or not, is a huge draw card to the CBD and the Homemaker Centre. And many small retailers rely on that foot traffic. I would expect that foot traffic to drop by at least 50% if Bunnings leaves, and that is massive. Data tells us that for each dollar spent at a local business, it returns 3 times more money to our local economy than one spent at a national business, and nearly 50 times more than one spent at a remote online business. Or to put it another way, for every $100 you spend, if you spend it at a local independent business, $48 is returned to the local economy. If you spend that same $100 at a national business, $14 is returned to the local economy. If you spend that same $100 at a remote online business, we get $1 and that's usually to the delivery driver. Thirdly, local independent businesses provide different types of jobs within the local economy to that of a national or multinational. They are frequently the only source of skilled job opportunities, and skilled workers are extremely valuable to local economies as other jobs are created because of the presence of the skilled labour. You may think my argument is counterintuitive, but my point is that every centre, town, city needs that big drawcard business to help all the other small players. And indeed, real estate agents will often sell it that way to potential lessees. We have a drawcard business, it's going to give you great foot traffic. So I say yes, support Bunnings, but please support the other businesses as well. Bunnings is telling the community 60 new jobs will be created. I ask you, is that being disingenuous when we are all well aware that many small businesses will put off staff and many small businesses will close if we lose that draw card in the centre? So I ask you, what is more imperative in the worst housing shortage we have seen in decades, over 300 housing lots in a residential area to be available for homes, or relocating an already very successful hardware store out of our city and taking up valuable housing land? Bunnings, where is your community loyalty to the community that supported you and made you who you are, and where's your corporate responsibility? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kozak. Councillor Smith, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Well, one act to follow. I agree with all of Councillor Kozak's words, and she's moved into my area of history, so I won't go into that myself. But this is a really important issue for the City of Bunbury, and I'm really pleased that the community is rallying around this issue. I don't understand, I quite frankly don't understand why a successful national retailer would consider moving one of its most successful businesses out of one spot to put it in another. I find that quite amazing. And Councillor Kozak raises some valid concerns. Dalyella may be in another shire, but its building blocks are fairly close to us as well. So, and housing is a soup du jour at the moment. Everybody is on about housing, lack of housing, lack of land and so on. So I support Councillor Kozak's comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Is there a speaker against?
I'll speak against. I'll be voting definitely for. That's why I wanted the
Do you want me,
opportunity to be
Councillor
able to
Gass,
speak.
do you- make it easier. Take a seat. I'll speak against it.
Okay, good. Thanks.
I don't have anything to add. Is there a speaker for?
I really am grateful because I didn't want to go on the record speaking against this. Strongly support what's going up there, but I do want to add some things, Mr Mayor, that may be beneficial. I'll leave it up to you guys to decide whether they are or not. One is, in item 1, we really shouldn't be limiting this to The Homemaker Centre, we should be including the Trade Centre in Halifax in that, because that's also potentially going with, if it ever goes ahead. The other one, item 5, I would write to the board of West Farmers, namely Michael Cheney, who's a WA boy, and the CEO was Rob Scott, to West Farmers, the actual board, who have to answer to the shareholders. Mr. Mayor, growing the economy is very important to every council, and controlling costs is just as important. So it is clearly visible that surrounding shires are growing, and perhaps they're growing faster than we are. Rates is probably a factor when it comes to incentivising business decisions, because that gets passed on immediately. Now, if we go to West Farmers and we just tell them, look, we're not happy with your decision, I don't know what difference it may make. But if we go to West Farmers with a case, say Bunbury means business, we are going to grow, we're going to release all this land, we may double our zoning across Bunbury one day to residential, we may have a vision 2035 to take to investors to make decisions as a destination city. If you're going to come to me to help me make a decision, if you're just going to say, look, don't do this without some sort of support, I'm probably going to laugh you out of town. Mr. Mayor, and this is not specific to council, this is generally speaking. So the West Farmers policy for Bunnings is that they have a Bunnings Warehouse Network plan, and their focus for Bunnings is proximity to growth corridors, and that's why I was saying the things I was just saying. We need to prove to West Farmers and anybody else that's considering Bunbury, and probably many are considering Bunbury, that we are a growth corridor. We have got huge potential for growth. I don't want to repeat myself. One thing that probably highlights to me this whole thing is probably a wake-up call that how we may have, not we, people in the past may have undervalued Citygate and people like Citygate of what influence that has on Bunbury's economy. And it's not just Bunnings. Let's go and have a look around what's around Bunnings. Go to Dalyalup and have a look what's happening there. All the businesses getting set up there. Coles, Woolworth, Authority's there. Aldi's going there. There's, physiotherapists, Hungry Jack's, Macca's, KFC and so on. So it's growing. So I don't want to drag on too long. We need to put a case together. And I want to also emphasise that we put a strong case to the state government, who may be able to have a say about what's going on. Final point is, I wish I never withdrew the notice of motion to invite Capel, Sheriff Capel, to sit down and talk to us about amalgamations. Now, if we're going to potentially still do it in the future, we should be starting to bring it forward. If we are going to talk to a growing shire and we are perhaps static, then we have less negotiation authority in talking about amalgamation. The Minister has, word for word, has urged local governments to put ratepayers first and talk about amalgamations. This is a time we can't play around anymore. Not council, but we can't, as a community, not consider it anymore. So, Mr. Mayor, really thank you for your time. Thank you for what you just did, so I can speak for the motion, and perhaps maybe you can take some of my comments on board. I will say it one more time. We need to put a case to Michael Cheney and the Board of West Farmers that we are the place to invest. We are the place to invest. And this really highlights what Bunbury's economy is all about, the port, the exports there, and maybe downstream processing, and that's something Bunnings might be able to come to the party on, because they import a lot of stuff from China. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Gassop. And that obviously right to Bunnings West Farm is very broad. I know that we have a contact details there already, but happy to extend that contact to any representatives anyone thinks fit. So rather than including them there, if you have contacts or contact details of people part of that, feel free to pass them on should this pass. Is there a speaker against? Councillor Kozisek, anything to close?
A lot of comments from Councillor Gassett were very relevant, but I don't think I need to say much more. Thank you.
Thank you. For the motion, those in favour please indicate. That is carried unanimously. Thank you. What's that for? The next item is 10.3.1, which is the write-off of infringements. This needs an absolute majority, councillors. Is somebody prepared to move this motion? Councillor Kozisek, is there a seconder? Councillor Brown. Likely to be any debate on this, councillors? If that's the case, I'll put that. Those in favour, please indicate. That's carried unanimously. Thank you. And I believe brings us to no, we have leave to deal with first, or a couple of leave. Councillor Broad will be on leave for those dates, but 29th of June 26 to 21st of July 26. Somebody happy to move that is granted? Thank you, Councillor Ramesh. Second by Councillor Kozisek. I'll put that. Those in favour? That's carried. You can vote on your own leave, Councillor Broad. Okay, now that does bring us to a close. Thankfully, we had that at Bunnings item. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been here for very long. I'll declare this meeting open at 5:56, closed at 5:56. Thank you.